Welcome to the Nourished Brain Solutions podcast, where we leverage the power of whole foods-based integrative nutrition to optimize health, mood, energy, and the gut-brain connection. I'm Ferreira, an integrative and functionally minded registered dietitian and owner of Nourished Brain Solutions in upstate New York. Let's get you nourished. Do you have a food philosophy? A certain defined way of eating? A diet or food plan that you feel you, quote, should be following? A Google search for the best diet for health reveals the following options: low-fat diet, low-carbohydrate diet, veganism, vegetarianism, the DASH diet, paleo diet, gluten-free diet, very low-calorie diet, low-sodium diet, raw foodism, Whole30, and calorie restriction. If your head is spinning from trying to find the one, you're not alone. Nutrition can be so confusing because it seems that there are solid dividing lines between all of these philosophies of eating that seem to be so different. You may be one of those who are disappointed that despite trying out a variety of different approaches to eating, you still do not have the health, the outcomes that you have been after, or maybe you have no idea where to even begin. My philosophy is that each and every one of us deserves the opportunity to harness the power of whole, nutrient-dense foods to optimize our health and well-being, but that there is no one single best diet. What I do believe is that to use food as fuel, it makes sense to think about what we want to accomplish by eating in any given way, and then to consider whether there is good evidence that the strategies we're adapting or considering adapting make sense for helping us to reach the goals we're interested in. Does a mechanism exist by which the food choice could work? Is there historical or clinical evidence that the food choice has worked well for others, or that the pattern of eating has really led to the health outcome that we're seeking? There is so much involved in determining an individual's nutritional needs: body composition and body type, blood pressure, cardiovascular health, kidney function, digestive health, activity level, age and gender, risk factors for low nutrient status, relationship to food. These are just some of the variables that make sense to take into account when evaluating how best to make food choices. The best food choices often depend on which imbalances an individual is trying to correct. Let's take high blood pressure as an example. I've come across a lot of people who, when they are diagnosed with hypertension or know that they have high blood pressure, try to stick to a low, or as they say, sometimes a no sodium diet. Let's think through whether this makes sense. So some of the factors that could impact blood pressure include intake of certain nutrients, including calcium, magnesium, potassium, involved in health of vessel walls and ability for the vessel to open sufficiently, glycemic load of the diet, genetically driven degree of salt and sodium sensitivity, fatty acid intake, whether someone has enough essential fatty acids in their diets, protein intake, whether it's insufficient or sufficient, can dictate to a point blood pressure, vitamin D status, whether the diet has sufficient phytochemicals, food-based, plant-based chemicals such as lycopene, quercetin, resveratrol, all impactful in their own way on blood pressure. When working with someone as an integrative and functional nutritionist, the R&R formula guides decisions about how to best design an eating plan in the current moment in someone's life. So the first R is require. What does this person require to reduce risks, improve function, or balance systems to support health and healing? It might be diet, nutrients that are supplemented to the diet, or other areas such as stress management. The second R is remove. What does this person need to remove to reduce health risks, improve function, or balance systems in order to support health and healing? What works for you or I during 1 week or month or year might not be optimal during the next. For instance, consider a woman struggling with hormonal imbalance and estrogen dominance during a certain period of her life. The therapeutic food options that she could choose might have very little relevance 15 years later. A focused, structured, therapeutic diet often makes sense for someone working to overcome specific concerns such as gastrointestinal struggles or imbalance, where for others, work on intuitive and informed eating to find peace around food might be the most impactful eating or food strategy for that person. I do believe that the foundation to a diet designed to restore and support health is a whole foods, nutrient-dense diet. What does that mean? Well, whole foods are those foods that are coming from the earth with dense amounts of nutrients and antioxidants. Within a whole foods dietary pattern, you might have varying amounts of legumes, fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, whole grains, honey, eggs, fish, poultry, meat, herbs, spices, botanicals. This podcast is all about how to use these types of foods and the philosophy of eating along a spectrum of whole foods to restore and maintain vitality and nutritional well-being. No matter where you are on the journey or how your food philosophy compares, I'm glad you're here.